This next exercise is being with an object in the external world. We have been experimenting with being in the present moment, and we're going to continue that process of experimenting with being in the present moment while adding in a form of active imagination where we sense the energy of an object. So, from a quantum physics perspective, everything has energy, and that energy is a vibration. That the atoms in our body all vibrate or have waves to them, and that our imagination, our senses can actually tap into those vibrations and sense them through our imagination, such as seeing them as a color or a shape or an image, or some other form of imagination. And so we're going to experiment with what you sense this object to be. You can pick a plant or a candle flame for focusing on an object. So if you don't have a plant, maybe pick a candle. If you don't have a candle or a plant, maybe step outside and pick a tree. But we're going to experiment with being with an object. So take a moment to pick the object. And then I invite you to find a comfortable place to sit where you are at a conversational distance from the object. So not super close to it, but not super far away, maybe about 8 feet or 6 to 8 feet away from it. And I'd like you to bring your awareness to the object, just beginning to kind of focus your eyes on this object. And you can allow your focus to be soft. And again, with mindfulness, the point isn't to have a quiet mind. The point is to notice when you get distracted by your mind. So if you notice that you are focusing on a thought, an emotion, a body sensation, or a belief, you just have gotten distracted and caught up in your inner experience and are identifying with it. And you just want to, when you notice that happening, redirect your focus back to the object that you're focusing on. And that is how we practice mindfulness. So I invite you to focus on the object. And as you focus on the object, I want you to observe what the object looks like, what shape it is, what color it is. Does it have a texture? And I want you to continue to just focus on the object. And now I want you to imagine that this object is alive, which if you're focusing on a plant, it is. And I want you to invite in your imagination. And using your imagination, I want you to see if you can sense the energy of this object. And does this energy of this object have a shape, a color, a texture, a vibration? And by vibration, I mean, does it have a frequency? Is it fast, slow, medium? What is the vibration of this object that you're focusing on? By focusing on energy, it's another way of focusing on the consciousness or the divinity of that object. There is a form of physics that believes that everything has consciousness, from a rock to plants, to animals, to insects, to human beings, and that the amount of consciousness that objects have vary on the mass of the object. So human beings, it is thought, have more self-awareness and more consciousness than, say, a rock, but that a rock might also have a form of consciousness of knowing it exists. And whether or not you believe this is up to you. But for this this exercise, we're experimenting with the idea that the object you have picked to focus on has energy. It has consciousness. And again, if your mind wanders, it is absolutely okay. Just gently accept what you're noticing and bring your focus back to the object that you are focusing on. You might be wondering why I am inviting you to focus on an object. Concentration and focus is another form of mindfulness. So, picking an object to center your attention on is another form of mindfulness. And so, we're experimenting with another form of mindfulness, which is focus, concentration. This can help us in our everyday tasks, particularly tasks that require our focus, such as work. Some of us might have experiences with mental health issues around focus. We might have ADD or ADHD, and there is neuroscience evidence that suggests that meditation can actually help alleviate some of the symptoms of ADD and ADHD and can actually help increase the ability to focus. How is it to experiment on focusing on an object? I invite you now to create some sort of ritual exploring what it was like to focus on an object and to experiment with sensing the energy of an object. Perhaps creating some sort of art project, a movement piece, journaling, or any other form of creative expression.